In our world, there are a lot of music genres, each one portraying different kinds of feelings and messages. These creations can also have visual accompaniments to reflect their concept. However, those productions are associated with real-world figures, meaning that their creators have a fixed way to present themselves, as well as a limited time in the industry. But what if the artist was also the creation, giving them the opportunity to experiment through multiple music genres and art styles? The concept of virtual artists as we know it today started in the early 20th century. At that time, we had a lot of visual productions accompanied by musical beats. But perhaps the earliest example of a virtual creation that had also a musical career was Alvin and the Chipmunks by Russ Bagdasarian. In 1958, Bagdasarian released the songs Witch Doctor and The Birds on My Head, both featuring a high-pitched version of his voice. Inspired by The Little Animal, he created Alvin and the Chipmunks, releasing that same year their first hit, the Chipmunk song, Christmas Don't Be Late. Following this success, the Chipmunks performed their very first live appearance in The Ed Sullivan Show. From this point, Alvin and the Chipmunks will become a multimedia franchise, creating many records, TV shows, and movies to this date. The virtual band trend continued in the 60s. In 1968, The Archie Show premiered, inspired by the comic book series Life with Archie. You probably know them for their hit Sugar Sugar from 1969. In the 70s, Hanna-Barbera also produced many TV shows centered around different animated bands. The 80s also saw some rising virtual artists from both the West and the East. In the era of pop music, Hasbro produced Jen and the Holograms, which also featured many music videos. Meanwhile, in Japan, Japanese idol culture was depicted in many anime productions. Later in the 90s, Japan started pushing virtual idols thanks to the advances in technology, one of them being Kyoto Date by Hori Pro Productions in 1996. This was also the time where new mobile phones and the internet were popularized. British artist Jamie Hewlett was commissioned to make illustrations for an upcoming virtual band called Monkey Tennis, which will feature many forms of media, but the project never materialized. Possibly inspired by this, along with musician Damon Albarn and the idea of mocking MTV at the time, Gorillaz was finally born in 1998. The project featured many animated projects and live concerts, turning them into one of the most famous virtual bands of all time. The idea of a virtual artist as fun ringtones would come later in 2003, when Eric Bergqvist from Sweden created The Annoying Thing, Crazy Frog, based on a viral recording, and had multiple remixes of famous songs such as XLF and Popcorn. On the other hand, Japan saw the release of Vocaloid in 2004, a singing synthesizer created by Yamaha Corporation and licensed to Krypton Future Media. The software featured many voice banks, Hatsune Miku being the most popular after being released as part of Vocaloid 2 in 2007. The same year, the cartoon metal band Deathclock released their first album, and Miku's very first concert was in 2009. This is not only part of a continuous growth in the Vocaloid community, but also an inspiration for the next decade. In the 2010s, the VTubing trend was born, the most notable example being Kizuna Ai in 2016. Many video games companies started using their characters as part of live virtual band performances, and furthermore, many independent producers started releasing their own projects on the internet. But now, in the 2020s, AI is growing, and both visuals and music are being easily produced and replicated. It is a matter of time for creation to replace the creators.